Okay, folks, this is the video I mentioned while working on the transmission for the Blue Beastie. This is my new toy. My Christmas present arrived a little late. Better late than never. So this is a 2020 FS450, a bike that I've been wanting to get for many years. I built my own supermoto a few years ago. Love riding this thing. It's fantastic on asphalt, and then I put dirt wheels on it and ride on our grass track, which we have out the back. I've ridden it on Texas World Speedway and Eagles Canyon and Crescent 1.7 and Crescent 1.3, and looking forward to riding it on the new kart track at Crescent. It was a lot of work to get this thing all put together, and it mostly works. The biggest challenge was that front brake, but luckily, because I have a CNC mill, I was able to adapt a GSXR 750 caliper and I think it's actually an old Honda VFR 750 brake master cylinder, because that particular model of VFR had 2 piston calipers. So that leverage ratio worked out really well after a little bit of experimentation. Anyway, this one is an awesome beast. It's really fun to ride. But now my nephew gets to ride this, and I get to ride this. So, being that I can't leave well enough alone, of course, as soon as I got it, I started ordering bits and pieces to upgrade it. The air fork is going to be installed shortly. I've ordered it. Once it arrives, I'll make a video on installing that spring, the metal spring, to replace the air spring. And for now, though, I just got this. This is the Akrapovic, or Akrapovic. I don't like the Akrapovic pronunciation. I think it's much better to say Akrapovic. So, we are going to install that. Well, we're going to begin this install process today. But I wanted to do a before and after of the exhaust. So I've just put in some ethanol-free gas, and we will get a before. So be prepared for some noise. So turn down your speakers or your headphones right now, because we're going to make some noise. And don't worry about all the smoke. I unfortunately picked this thing up on a very wet day, so it was in the back of my truck in pouring rain on the way home from the dealership. So I got back home and completely covered it in WD-40 because it's like lotion for motorcycles, and I didn't want any of these brand new nuts and bolts and fasteners to start rusting on day one. Anyway, I'm going to open the door and lift the table and let things cool off a little, and then begin the installation of the new exhaust. So I don't know how long it'll take, but let's see. I did a big bore kit from one of these. I did multiple exhausts for these. I also have a bladder kit coming for the shock. I also have this. When I'm installing the bladder kit, I will put the preload adjuster on, which I'm really looking forward to. Love these things. But to do that, I have to pull the shock out, pull the shaft out, and I figured while I'm doing that, I might as well do the bladder as well. So that's why that's happening. And then I will also get the dirt wheels for the KTM and see how big the spaces need to be to fit equivalent dirt wheels onto this, and then I'll make up some spacers, either that or just if I can get some wheels that will fit straight onto these axles. And yeah, I've already changed the gearing on this to suit the local tracks. And what else? Well, is that enough? That's enough for now. So yeah, I will go open the door and open up the box, and we will make some noise with the air compressor, so I will be right back. Okay, doors are open, air is now breathable again. While this is cooling down, we will take a look at what we've got. Oh yeah, there's my new engine stand that I built yesterday for the RGV motor. This is the spare stock motor. The rest of that particular bike is on its way here from Australia. So I just welded up the stand. Some nice little TIG welds. I love TIG welding. Okay, so let's see. What do we got here? Mounting widgets. Not intended for street use. Very pretty. Akrapovic do make fantastic stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I've got an Akrapovic on the black one over there. But when I found out the price for the Ducati, I thought, I might prefer to buy another bike for that price. Anyway, so we'll take off the rear side cover, and then the muffler, then the pipe, and then install the springs, blah blah blah. Yep, looks all pretty straightforward. I've installed a bunch of FMF pipes. I've never actually installed one of these on one of these. And 16 foot-pounds. And they're saying correctly slide on the Make sure that the spring make sure that spring pulls the muffler all the way under the link pipe. Coat the interior with anti-seize. Okay, good idea. And then, oh, look at that. Use a soft cloth sprayed with a multi-purpose spray lube, WD-40. Clever. Okay. All right. Well, it looks pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at the device itself. Oh, it is so light. Oh my god, that is light. Look at that. What was I just saying about TIG welds? Okay. That is incredibly light. Okay. Okay. Akrapovic. Actually, go on this end. Okay. Interesting. It's got the... I wonder if that's the... Yeah, that's the DB killer. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so there was nothing in there. Okay, so that's about it. How about we get on with the show? That's all there was. Okay, let's see. Still hot. So I might get myself a Mountain Dew and have a drink, and then come back to this in a few minutes. I'm dying to pull this shock off, but there's no... Well, I wonder, it might help. But there's no point doing it until the bladder gets here. So the bladder will arrive shortly. Yes, I can charge up the bladder, which, from what I've read, takes less pressure than the standard piston. The piston takes 150. I remember that much from when I did the WP Olin's SOX suspension training when I was working at the KTM shop. I actually have the tool for that. There it is. That's the needle that charges up, goes into the reservoir, pressurizes the piston, and then I have plenty of high pressure gas right there, courtesy of the TIG welder, which comes in very handy. That's what I used when I was rebuilding the FS450 shocks. And yeah, one thing you'll notice if you're ever rebuilding a shock is how stiff the piston is in here. It just does not want to move up and down, and that's compensating for oil flow through the system. And if the shock piston, if this piston is just resisting movement, then that's stiction. Whereas with the bladder, it just squeezes in and out. There's no resistance whatsoever. Whether or not you feel that on the track is debatable. Whether you can measure that in terms of seconds per lap is not debatable. You can measure it. Sometimes, horses. Sometimes it's just a matter of feel. It just gives you a nicer feel. It makes you feel more comfortable. It makes you feel more confident. And if you're feeling more confident, then you can go a little deeper under the brakes. You can go a little faster into the turn. You can get on the gas a little earlier coming out of the turn. It just gives you that little bit of an advantage just because you've removed the piston and I've got a squishy bladder there instead. I tell you, I would rather have more comfortable and more confidence-inspiring suspension than 5 more horsepower any day. There's no point doing this if you can't do it for as long because you're just not as confident with your suspension. And if that's all you want to do, then just stay home and sit in front of a fan that's turned on maximum and make broom broom noises. You'll get just as much satisfaction, and it'll be a lot cheaper and a lot safer than actually riding. I know, people love going fast on the straights, but that's what they make fast bikes for. What's that saying? Fast bikes are for slow riders and slow bikes are for fast riders. Although Ben Bostrom had the best quote, the smaller a motorcycle is, the more it can teach you. So I was glad, I was lucky, I was able to learn on one of those. That little 250 was fantastic for learning about racing and actually pushing hard. When I see pictures of myself when I was first racing, oh my God, it looked terrible. My body position was awful. I was looking in the wrong place. I know I was completely lost. I was completely at sea. And then, after I started winning races, my body position was completely different. And instead of trying to push it 110% everywhere, I was riding at 75 or 80% everywhere. And when I needed to, when I had to, I would pull out that little extra. For example, when I was avoiding a crash or making a last lap lunge or last corner lunge, then I would push it 110%. But I saved that for special occasions. Crashed less. In fact, stopped crashing at that point. Anyway, this is still a little warm. Yep, still too warm to work on. So we will be back in a little while with... Actually, I'll probably... Well, this is... Come on. There we go. There. And then I'll undo these bolts. Actually, things have changed a little since I was working on these back in 2017. Wow, it's coming on 4 years. Wow, time flies. It was fun working at that dealership, but boy, I'm glad I went back into software development. It's more interesting and pays a lot more. Anyway, yeah, that's the first part. And, well, yeah, it's just That's not hot, but this is. Let's see. I can get started. Although what I'm going to do is I'll hit pause and close the doors and we'll get back to it. Okay, here we are back again. We are going to remove the pipe and this cover, well, the cover and then this pipe. Unfortunately, my speaker is not working. So no 90s rock to accompany the process. Let's see, okay. Let's see. Yes, if anyone's interested in seeing some welding videos, let me know. I made that mirror bracket for the Ducati over there. That's what's supporting the mirrors. I started out by making these little soft jaw covers and doing various other little experiments like this, just welding bits and pieces together. I've got some other plans. But yeah, if anyone's interested, let me know and I'll do more detail. I don't want to dilute the content too much if no one's interested. This reminds me of a story. If you're ever looking for a good book to read about motorcycles and racing and mechanics and engineering and fluid dynamics and finite element analysis and CAD and all that fun stuff, get Kevin Cameron's book, any of them. There was one book where he was telling a story about going to see the new Honda RCV 213, the V5, oh, it was 211, I think it was. And he was looking at it up close and he noticed that all of the exhaust springs, none of them had rubber sleeves. And he said, well, that's interesting, because throughout his experience as an engineer, a race tuner, whenever the springs did not have rubber sleeves, they vibrated out of control and broke. So the springs would always break if they didn't have a rubber sleeve. So he said, wow, maybe Honda has fixed the problem and has engineered some springs that won't break. Well, halfway through the day, guess what happened? Yes, their springs started to break. So it's interesting to see the stock Husqvarna springs without rubber sleeves. Okay, there we go, that's all it is. 2 bolts and a spring, and it's out. Closed course competition only. Wow, it's a lot heavier. Well, it is significantly heavier. Maybe a lot is not quite the right word to use. Okay, we'll leave that down there. Yeah, it's cooled off a lot now. Okay, what else has there been? Yeah, I got that welder because I had an idea for a little invention which was based off the Nomar tire changer, and this is it. Just ignore that, that's a spare. But I didn't make it quite strong enough, so I'm going to reinvent or re-engineer this with thicker tubing. But because this was a straight rod, it couldn't twist side to side. So if you've ever used a Nomar changer, you've got to be very careful with a vertical handle so that it doesn't twist while you're mounting the tire. With this square section, it means you don't need to do that, and it worked really well. So I will remake that, and hopefully it won't break again. Okay, and springs. Looks like I may not need to worry about that flange. Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see how I can manage to fit a dirt front brake onto this fork leg. Ooh, stinky. Yes, it may prove to be a lot easier to adapt a road race caliper to a dirt bike bracket than it is to adapt a dirt bike bracket to a road race bracket. Hang on, did I say that right? It'll be easier to mount a road race caliper to a dirt bike bracket than to mount a road race caliper no, a dirt bike caliper to a road race bracket. Yes, that's it. Sorry. Getting a little bamboozled. Don't you hate it when you outsmart yourself? Okay, there we go. Wow, this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. Love that. Interesting. Okay. Oh, get the springs. Question is, are they all the same? Yes, they are. Okay. Should be easy enough. Alright, so it said that those little adapters were different. Husky versus KTM. Wow, imagine that. Consulting the instructions. Okay, Husqvarna. Gotta love the accent. It's only taken 20 years. Okay, let's see. the difference is not immediately apparent. That one's different, that one's different. Okay, KTM. All right, I guess we'll have to figure it out and see which one's which. Nope, that's not it either. That goes on that one. These goes on these ones. Well, that looks about right. But that one is for the larger bolt, so I can see that these two go in there. Okay, that makes sense. Small and small. Small and small. And then large and large. That goes there. All right. Good of them to provide new hardware, even though we already had some. Let's put these springs in. The old springs always help. We've got a lower and an upper by the look of it. Let's try it this way. Well, let's put it on first. Yep, lower, just as I thought. Like that. Simple as that. And then I guess we could do, yeah, looks like lower as well. Okay, that's it. That was pretty simple. Interesting to see the tuned length in action right there. Okay, so we'll leave that soft or hand tight. That is pretty. Oh, yep, notice, not gravel. May need to loosen that. Maybe not. Yeah, I didn't need to, oh, that's not a cover, that's the subframe. Okay, that's lined up. What's going on here? Instead, surprised it's a little off. Wow, it actually doesn't quite match up to the mount. Make a little difference, just a little bit of finagling. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that's much better. And the other spring. Hate when these zip ties are left like, oh God, that's so sharp. There. Now I'm not gonna draw blood, at least not as easily. I'm so used to working on bikes with metal subframes. forgot this one has a composite subframe. Composite. Okay. Go with the flow, don't fight it. Yep, that's the only one, and the springs are all the same. I already checked them. This is just a tight one. Let's see. I need to push that one up slightly while I pull it. Look at that. Do I have another puller? There we go. Yeah, all the springs are the same. That one's the same, that one's the same. Okay. Well, that's it. There's that button. There we go. Okay. Oh, the anti-seize. Well, we might worry about that later. Okay. Original parts. Yeah, I'm going to regret not putting that anti-seize in later if I don't do it. So, what we might do is start it up and then double check everything and come back and redo that anti-seize. Okay, that's all she wrote. Now it's time for the big reveal. All right, so turn down your speakers, pull your headset out. This is going to be loud. that pipe. It must be the insulation. The packing in here smells weird. Okay, that was one version. There we go. Now, let's pull this DB killer. I'm going to have to figure out how to pull this out. Oh, maybe not. Okay. I don't think that's going to make a whole lot of difference, but we shall see. Okay, that was it. Pretty quick, pretty easy, nothing complex. The most difficult thing is not forgetting the anti-seize. But I might go in and do that. No need to waste everyone's time. Okay, so that's it for now. I will be doing some more videos shortly on the shock mods, the bladder kit, the preload adjuster, and the wire, the metal spring replacing the air spring and the forks. So, thanks for watching.